Congressman, thank you for coming to Manchester today, and I want to thank you for your service to our country in the military, as well as representing your constituents. You mentioned about the power and issues not getting solved, and one of the things, and we the people have been wanting for a very long time, and a poll, I just saw last night, a poll came out where 80% of the American voters want to see term limits on members of Congress, both the U.S. Senate and the House. And if you, now I know you're there now, if you were to become president, would you support an effort? I know Congress can propose the amendment. I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to pass it by 2/3. There's also an effort out there where the states are trying to use Article 5 to have the states propose the amendment for Congress. Would you support that issue? Why or why not?
I'm undecided on this. Let me tell you why. I think it is an important conversation and debate that needs to happen amongst the American people to determine whether or not this is something that we want. One of my concerns is that in some states that have passed term limits within their local or state government, we have seen how there's been a reduction in accountability. So you've got someone who's term limited to 1 or 2 or 3 terms, let's say, for example, and it ends up being the staff who are unelected, who end up being the ones that the lobbyists will go to and make their case to, who will then influence and have influence over the elected member. I've heard from people in some of these states how frustrating it has been and how the original objective that they were hoping for hadn't been achieved, and the power and influence had kind of been moved to those who are unelected. You know, for me and my job in Congress every 2 years, we've got the opportunity to be hired and fired by our constituents. I think one of the things that makes this an unlevel playing field is the advantage that incumbents have, particularly coming from PAC and lobbyist contributions in Washington. I don't take any PAC or lobbyist money in my congressional campaign and not in my presidential campaign now. We've got a completely people-powered campaign. But I think if we instituted that change across the board, I think we would see a big shift in the powers that would allow a greater opportunity for someone to come in and challenge an incumbent who currently has that advantage. But I also think there are a lot of changes, and there's a lot of people who are waking up to not accepting that an incumbent is automatically going to get reelected. And obviously we saw that in the 2018 elections, where people with not a lot of money, no name recognition, went out and ran great campaigns and were successful at running people-powered campaigns.